Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Ghosts and Spirits Special Edition video. Well, I was going to do this video a couple of weeks back on my recent trip to Arlington, Texas, with regards to a specific set of ghost hunts. Unfortunately though, I guess time went by and I got a little busy, but at least in this case I was finally able to talk about it here. And it has to do with two very specific locations that I visited there in Arlington that have to do with well-known, in this case, ghost hauntings. So one of them, though, unfortunately was a complete bust because based on the layout, there was no chance for me to able to find it. But the other one did make up for it. So you're going to see a whole bunch of pictures with regards to that one. And it has to do with me going to two specific parks. One of them was the River Legacy Park, and then the other one, the Doug Russell Park. Again, both known to have well-known, in this case, specific haunted areas. So let's talk about the first one here. This is pretty much the only picture I have with the River Legacy Park, and this was a bust, a huge bust of some sort. And the reason I went there specifically was because there's two known locations, many locations there. One called the Screamin Bridge and the other one called Hell's Gate. The Screamin Bridge has to do with the idea that there was a set of car accidents, I believe, that occurred on a bridge a couple decades back, and ever since then, if you go there to that very specific location, especially on the anniversary of one of those car accidents, then you're supposed to either A, hear, in this case, the cries of people, the ones that essentially lost their lives, and then B, visually see either some kind of strange car lights, a mist of some sort, something approaching you, or all of the above. So the Screaming Bridge is one of the places. The other one I tried to see is a place called Hell's Gate. Hell's Gate, it's very, very torn down. It's a strong name, but it's really just a tiny location apparently. All it is two wooden post of some sort that used to be the known location of the last stop for execution. So if someone was, say, on death row, or someone was to be executed in that area back then, we're talking a long time back, they would travel down a dirt road with whoever is going to execute them, and then eventually the execution spot went past two posts, and that's where it's supposed to be, Hell's Gate. That's why it's called Hell's Gate, because those two posts resemble a makeshift gate of some sort. And there, again, you're supposed to either hear someone crying or someone's cries related to being executed. So the reason why you're looking at this picture here for River Legacy Park is because what nobody mentions in any of the websites having to do with talking about River Legacy Park and its hauntings, River Legacy Park is huge. It is gigantic. It is 10 miles of pure trail, and I'm doing that lightly because it's actually 20 miles of pure trails if you include also a separate biking trail and a separate hiking trail. And this picture showcases a good example of some of the spots where you'll see, like for example, the entrance South Loop intersection, a trail split, some bridges, a BSA bridge. You'll see that it points to nowhere in terms of either Hell's Gate or the Screaming Bridge. And I've went to another sign and it was pretty much the same deal, just a different "you are here" location. So the only thing I had going on was, if I truly wanted to find these two places, I would have to travel the entire trail, either again chancing it on the hiking trail or chancing it on the bike trail, and then hoping that I would come across it. And I tried to see on my phone to see if anything could point towards help, something as far as an actual location, like saying, hey, head in towards the BSA bridge, or hey, go towards the other location near the trail splits. That's where you'll find it. No, there was nothing in terms of that. So unfortunately, this was a bust because I had to leave right then and there, because I'm not going to walk 10 miles to try to find one very tiny spot In this case, either the two posts or the Screamin Bridge. So, but if anyone has any more information that they want to share, at least with this River Legacy Park, and you know exactly where those locations are at, please post those comments, because if anyone else goes on this specific ghost hunt, it would be great to share so that way they know exactly where it's at. So again, bit of a bust. I was really disappointed. I do wish there was more information on the internet as far as the exact locations of these things. Now, the second place that I visited is this place. Again, having to do with inside a park. It's called the Doug Russell Park. I was surprised to find this haunted location right in the middle of UT Arlington. If you can believe it, UT Arlington is a huge remote area of UT Texas, and right in the middle of it, very well hidden. You would have to find it pretty much either using maps or some kind of navigation like I use on my phone. I use AT&T Navigator, for example. It found me the park, and then within that park, there's a teeny tiny section that has to do with a cemetery. Very well hidden as well. You have to go into the park and then walk towards the very south, or in this case, northwest corner, depending on your entrance. And it has to do with a cemetery that has the unofficial name of the Lost Cemetery of Infants. Doesn't really have an official name of sorts, but throughout the years, it seems to be known as the Lost Cemetery of Infants. And a brief history related to it. The area, who knows how far back, maybe even in the 1800s, it used to actually be an area for unwed mothers. And basically it was a place for them to have their children, and because of the time and the circumstances then, because they were unwed, they would have to give up the children for adoption sometime later. But every now and then, with them having children, some of the babies died after a short time period. And so because of it, there was a makeshift cemetery created that's still there to this day. In fact, it's the only part of, I guess, that camp or whatever it was that was set up for the unwed mothers that exists to this day. All the other buildings that were originally created are all long gone. The land was sold, in this case to UT Arlington, and of course an entire UT campus was built around it. Quite fascinating stuff, but still, nonetheless, the only part left remaining untouched is the cemetery. These are all the pictures that you're looking at it. Very, very well hidden again. And what's most fascinating and tragic about this particular cemetery, these infants did not have names because they were born so early, maybe even prematurely. So a lot of them, you'll see, for example, like they'll say number so and so. There's one that you'll find in there, in fact, that says number 1 altogether. So that was the very first infant buried there too. You'll even find some markers, some larger, I guess, places. I guess those markers, the larger stones, might have been notable people that were there, maybe caretakers of some sort, who knows, but you'll find that as well. It was very serene, very calm. Again, it made up for the entire loss at the other park, because here I was able to enjoy my time there for a good while. I was just by myself, just walked straight into it, and then just calmly just walked around the entire cemetery. Not too large of a cemetery either. The pictures don't do it justice. It is pretty small when you go there in real person. Now, coming into it, you have to actually cross a large portion of forests. That's why it's the Doug Russell Park, because there's a lot of trees, a lot of forestry stuff around it. Now, as far as the hauntings, it's been known that those trees that you're looking at all these pictures in, people report seeing some kind of weird shadow people within them darting across, in this case, the trees, from one tree to another. I did not see anything. I didn't see any shadowy figures. I didn't feel anything, because another thing that people report is when you're in that cemetery, there's supposed to be the sensation like the back of your neck, like someone is watching you. I did not feel anything with that either. And then on top of that, another thing, you're supposed to hear children's voices. Now, I did hear that. I did hear the voices of children playing, but upon closer inspection, it's actually because, again, it's a park, and a little bit of ways from this makeshift cemetery, it looked like I saw there was like a playground of some sort. So I just quickly dismissed that. I didn't really see any children. I don't recall too much as far as seeing children, but when I was hearing the voices of the children, I wasn't looking for for that park at the same time. It was only after I was leaving that I saw that little park area. So I could easily dismiss that there. But yes, those are all the paranormal stuff that people report while being there. Again, myself, I didn't see or hear anything. Chalk it up to another loss when it comes to visiting a haunted location and then having nothing essentially happen, but others have seen a lot of things. But still, it was quite solemn. It was quite serene being there. It was just otherworldly because it was so calm. It was so quiet. This I went on a Saturday. No, or was it a Sunday? I can't remember. It was either a Saturday in the morning or a Sunday in the morning, and it was so calm because otherwise I imagine like during the weekdays UT Arlington is a busy bee of things, everyone just bustling around. But in this case, with me going and the all the campuses essentially being closed and all the businesses around it being closed, it was very, very calm, very serene. The cemetery is kept. It's pretty nicely kept because the grass, it's not too long. You could tell that it was cut and it grew a little bit back, but otherwise if it was just completely left alone, the grass would be much, much higher. But still, it was great to see that information. There's a website that I'll list below that contains more information about the Lost Cemetery of Infants, but it's a very well hidden surprise to go there. So if you have a chance and you're Arlington, Texas, check it out. I do recommend going to see it. Just go to the park, and then when you're heading inside on the bridge, go towards the northwest, and you'll see that little teeny tiny cemetery. So, alright, everybody. So that is my special edition, my ghost hunt trip, in this case to Arlington, Texas. And I'll be posting more videos soon. I'm going to be doing some more hunts, in this case here in Austin, actually. So be on the lookout for that. Alright, thanks, everybody. Take care.